I guess the way that we do these chats, it's really a good opportunity for young players to sort of sit back and learn and understand the journey, because the beauty of it is your journey is different to Shorty's, is different to Dorf's, is different to mine or someone else's or Seb's or anything like that. So it's a really good opportunity for young players to sort of get involved and learn a little bit about each person's pathways. But initially how we start things is we just get off with a bit of a recap of, I guess, your journey as a cricketer, starting from when you were a youngster or when you were a teenager, whenever you started, and just how your cricket journey, or even for you, it's an even better part, your sporting journey as well, I think, which is really, really important.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Firstly, it's a pleasure to be talking to everyone that's listening, and quite exciting for me as well. It's been a really bumpy journey, I guess. I played football here in South Australia, AFL, Aussie rules, and cricket, sort of all the way through my junior pathway in schooling, and had, both of those really, I guess, close to me. And then I guess at the back end of high school, when things get a little bit more serious in choosing, if you're lucky enough, which pathway you want to go, I elected the AFL path. And it wasn't through a lack of loving cricket. It just felt like at the time, entering an AFL draft and, hoping to play AFL one day felt right. So that sort of got me to the end of year 12, playing both football and cricket. Again, playing both of those sports ever since I can remember out in the backyard. It probably started for me with my older brother, and then progressing through the ranks in, district cricket level, to some state junior representatives in carnivals, in 17s, 19s, 15s.
Yep.
And then, like I said, when it came to that time to, I guess, make a big decision, I elected footy and walked away from cricket for about 2 full seasons of cricket.
Yep.
To try my hands at AFL up in Sydney at GWS, who were just starting up. That's a different story. That didn't work out, and I found myself back in South Australia after those 2 years, and then trying my hardest to get back into playing some cricket at district level to start off.
Yeah, awesome. And so you were a dual sport player right up until the draft, or?
Yeah, that's right. I played cricket in the summer and football in the winter. And that's sort of all it was for me. And obviously, schooling in between there. So, sport was a big part of my upbringing, and having an older brother who loved both football and cricket. My dad did a lot of coaching. It was hard to escape it. So I loved both sports, and I still do. I still love watching footy, but I'm very lucky to be in the position I am today.
Yeah, awesome. And I guess the first thing that pops into my head is you get so many people saying, or not saying, but there's young kids that are like, I want to play for Australia, I want to do that, and that's all I do, which is fine if you just love the game and you have no other real interests. But, you're a testament to the fact that you don't have to be pigeonholed as a player at 14 years old or whatever that has to just play cricket and that's it. What sort of tips would you give to, or advice for players that, they don't have to be jets at both or whatever, but they might enjoy playing both? What have you got for that?
Oh, absolutely. It plays as much sport and if you enjoy it as you can through those junior years, and don't put too much pressure on them either. It's I guess going to school and being with your mates every day is, that was pretty amazing looking back on that. Then to playing, lots of sport, you meet lots of great people, and I loved playing most sports, but I was just better at, I guess, football and cricket. I wasn't tall enough to be any good at basketball. I didn't have a big enough jump to play volleyball, but they were my two sports, and I played them right up to, I guess, the day that I had to make that decision. I was lucky enough to do, and then as I mentioned, footy fell through, but. Sports awesome. It gives you lots of great life values, that's for sure. And even to this day, I look back and some of my favourite memories of sport is definitely my junior days. Yeah.
And from your perspective, obviously, if you would have been playing Premier Cricket that age and then SANFL stuff and State League and national stuff, how did you go? Is there any sort of advice or bits on how to manage your time? Because I guess you would have been getting pulled in both directions a fair bit, plus your schooling, like you said.
Yeah, that's right. I think you've just got to be honest and talk to your coaches and talk to the staff members if it's at footy and cricket and even at school. And the best thing I did was make sure everyone knew what I was trying to achieve, and I had lots of great supporters along the way. So just be honest if you've got cricket training or I guess football pre-season. I'm sure the coaches that you work with will be pretty willing to assist, your journey and what you're trying to achieve. So communication, is a huge part of life and a huge part of sport. So make sure you communicate with whoever you trust and your coaches. And like I said, I'm sure they'll, respect and help as best as possible. And I was lucky enough to have some really good support along the way.
Yeah, awesome.
Alex, I'm really interested to hear your sort of comparison of the cricketing and the footballing environments. Obviously, you've had the chance to be in both elite environments, which is a pretty unique, and it's a fantastic story. But are there any sort of similarities or differences that have really stood out to you from, I guess, an AFL perspective compared to cricket and where you are now?
Yeah, it's a good question. They're obviously different sports, but what I've seen is, the best that I've played alongside are the ones that work the hardest, in both sports. So there's no hiding the fact that to be elite in whatever you choose to do in life, you've got to work really hard and be really passionate and, give it everything. So that's one comparison, is the best, normally do the most and work the hardest. But I think cricket is definitely come a long way in the last 5 to 10 years with our fitness levels, our I guess nutrition and how we try to handle ourselves off the field as well. There's lots of testing and skin folds and 2K time trials and all the hard stuff and the stuff we don't really look forward to, but what it does show is the professionalism of the players. And we know AFL players are super fit, they're super strong, and that they've got to be the all-round package. And I guess now you look at the fast bowlers and the work that they have to do and get their bodies right for is pretty amazing. I don't like bowling, and David Warner batting a whole day in Adelaide and even some more after that. It's pretty phenomenal what the elite guys are doing, and they're doing everything they can to be ready for to make 300 runs. You can't just be the local punter who goes out and bats for a day and a half. You have to put lots of time in the nets and in your gym work, and the concentration to do that is something phenomenal.
Yeah, awesome. I guess on your cricketing perspective now, as obviously coming through a keeper bat and everything like that, we would have a lot of obviously batters looking to bat through that middle overs, and like you're sort of specialising in at this stage with your Aussie stuff and your keepers. But what's probably some key aspects that you have from keeping, and was it tough going from not catching balls for 2 or 3 years and then coming back and keeping, and did you do it straight away? But what would be the advice for some young keepers out there? What are some key areas that you really judge yourself on?
Yeah, it's obviously a really tough position on the ground, and you're the only one out there. So it's it's hard to, I guess, put into words what you sometimes feel out in the middle, and you just have to be super focused and concentrated. But at the same time, you have to be relaxed. And again, I miss opportunities, and the best do it in the world, and you've just got to be prepared to put them aside, and at the end of the day then go back and assess them and move on to the next ball bowled. So but yeah, you've obviously got to do a lot of hard work and training, and for me, I like to make sure my glutes are really strong, because you're in that squatting position a lot, and even more so in shield cricket, and hopefully one day, test cricket for me. But one day cricket, it's high intensity. T20 cricket, it's high intensity as well. And I think the difference in keeping in in white ball cricket to the longer format is you're probably only going to catch a handful of balls in the innings, and one of them is likely to be an opportunity. So just making sure if you're not catching balls out in the game that you are, still staying mentally prepared for that one opportunity that comes. And I guess in shield cricket, there's players that leave the ball and you get into a nice bit of rhythm out in the middle. So it's making sure you're staying super concentrated, making sure you're really upbeat and making a lot of energy out in the middle, because once the field goes out in one-day cricket, it's quite it's quite a quiet place with the ring. There's only fielders in there normally and not much happening apart from balls being hit out to sweepers and me running up to the stump. So it's just staying nice and bubbly, but super concentrated, and you try to do your work in training to make sure you're in a really good position. And I guess that headspace is the big part of it.
Yeah, sweet. Well, have you got any more, Seb? Because then after that, what we do is we open the floor to the members. So they'll do a Q&A and they'll put them in the Q&A box, and we'll pick out some questions and stuff. So if you have questions, guys, just get them ready. Don't put them in the Q&A just yet. But Seba, have you got anything?
Yeah, I just think it's great to hear that perspective, from a keeper. Are you much of a talker out in the middle, Alex? Were you much of a chirper out there, or do you sort of leave it up to the players?
I think in one-day cricket, it all happens a bit too fast to be able to get stuck into the players. And normally the guys that hang around for quite a while is the Virat Kohlis, and it just spurs them on even more. So, there's some other guys that throw the friendly banter around. The fast bowlers are just angry. So I try to concentrate on catching the ball and doing that well.
Very nice.
Absolutely. We've got some really good questions sort of flowing through here, and there are a couple in the box already.
Before we kick that off, we actually ran a competition the other week in one of our other day sessions, Alex, and we've got 3 winners: Noah Cooper, Ben Woodhams, I think it is, and Hugh Wheeler. And they actually get the opportunity to come on and ask you a question each. So I'll get Noah, if you're on, well, you are on, I can see you, but just get ready. You're going to have to get your camera ready and your mic ready, because I'm adding you in right now, Noah.
Yes.
Hopefully, get your camera on. Noah, are you here and ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Is your camera working? Click the bottom left and start video. Hopefully we can see you, so Alex can see your mug.
Yeah.
You're a Strikers fan, more importantly.
Yeah, well, that's hopefully. Are you a Strikers fan, Noah?
No, I'm a Sixers.
Oh, that's all right. We'll let you off.
All right. Go, buddy. What question have you got for Alex?
Do you think AFL is a good crossover sport for cricket?
Hey, Noah. Congratulations as well on winning the competition, and it's great to answer your question. For me, I think it is. Yeah, I love playing AFL and obviously love playing cricket now. It's a good sport to stay fit, and I guess in the winter, apart from hitting balls, it's hard to get outdoors. So to be able to play a sport that you're alongside 17 other mates out playing is it's fantastic. But I think there's also lots of other great sports as well. Anything to do with a ball, hand-eye coordination, or getting out and going for a run, and playing in the backyard, I think is a fantastic opportunity as well during those months that we aren't playing cricket. So great question, and for me, I think AFL is a fantastic sport.
Absolutely. All right, Benny Woodhams, you're coming in now. I'll promote you to a panelist. Hopefully your camera can work, because I want to see some reactions here. I want to see the faces. And I'll unmute you. Benny, have you got a camera there?
How do we turn it on?
Bottom left, where it says you hover over the bottom left and it'll say mute. Next to it, there's a video option.
Start video?
That's it.
There
we
we
go. All right, Ben, shoot. What's your question?
Does Alex Carey still keep in touch with the Giants players they used to play with?
Yeah, good question. Oh, look at that jumper. That's a pretty cool jumper. I do. I'm actually really close friends with Dylan Shield. So Dylan's obviously moved on now to Essendon. But I had a chat with a couple of the Giants staff members the other day, and I still follow them very closely. So, yeah, it's a great question. They're still very close to my heart. So yeah, I love following their football, and it was a pity about the grand final last year, but I have no doubt that they'll bounce back pretty quickly. So yes, great question. Who's your favourite player there?
Stephen Cornelio.
That's a good one. He was a really good cricketer as well.
Did he play Aussie 19s or was it just the state stuff? I think he played.
I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, he was
very talented.
Yeah, a bit of a star from WA as well.
Very good. All right, thanks, Benny.
Cheers, Ben.
Hang on, I'll try and get him in. And then we also have Hugh Wheeler. So Hugh, if you are around, I'm trying to find the H's. Hugh Wheeler, allowed to talk. All right, so Hugh, you are now a panelist. Hopefully you can see or hear us. Join, bottom left of the video, you're unmuted. Big Hugh, how you going, buddy? You there, buddy?
Everything back.
Bit laggy, Hugh.
Yes, sir. Where is
Can
he?
you hear me? If you can't, if it's lagging a bit, mate, if you can, just type in the chat bar and I'll answer it. Or I won't answer it. I'll get Alex to answer it.
I'll put it up here, so far away.
11-year-old all-rounder, what are your tips for getting better?
If you're an all-rounder, what are your tips for getting better? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good question, that one. I think you've got to obviously train in all three. Well, fielding's a position as well now. It's key to be a really good fielder. So making sure, I guess, as a batter that you're getting your work in the nets and, working with, if it's your dad or, your batting coach, making sure you're doing your batting work, and then your bowling as well is a big part. So Australia is dying for a really good up and coming all rounder. So make sure you work really hard, and I can't give you any bowling tips because I'm no good at that. But I think that the ultimate all rounder now is your Matthew Wades, who wicket keeps, bowls and bats as well. So
everything.
He does everything. But yeah, absolutely. Working on your fielding, it's really key to make sure you're a good fielder. Your batting's super important. And then, with your bowling, you just want to be able to be the guy that the skipper can throw the ball to and hopefully take a wicket or at least hold up an end. So I guess the answer is hard work at all three facets of your game.
And I don't think you're afraid of that by the sounds of it. Speaking of Matty Short, Joey Dawes, a couple of other boys on the Q&As asking who are the hardest workers and the strikers, and I think your name came up a fair bit. So obviously that's one of your mantras that you take into your development as a player.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, for me, when I was let go from the football days, I didn't have any regrets because I knew I gave everything I had up there, and lucky enough to get a second chance in cricket. And making sure, I guess, when you leave a day at training, it's you've got everything you wanted to out of the session.
Perfect. Seba, you got a question through the Q&A or any themes?
Yeah, there's an absolute belter that's come through here from Alessia. So she said, "Hi, Alex. Any tips on putting a recent drop catch or missed opportunity out of your mind, especially if maybe the batsman's giving you a bit of stick about it and trying to focus on the next ball?" I guess a lot of players have trouble with, maybe failing every now and then or making a mistake, and it's really hard to get over that. And get rid of that distraction? How do you sort of go about it in a game? Because I guess it's a big part of the game, especially as a wicket keeper.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, great question. And we are human, so we are going to, have the emotions of, I guess, disappointment and, wish we had that moment again. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. And all we can do is worry about the next opportunity. And, I think good players are judged on the learnings from, I guess, setbacks. So, yeah, I guess for me, I have that disappointment initially, and then making sure you don't make two mistakes twice. And again, if that happens, that happens. It's a sport, and we're prone for mistakes to happen. So try to keep a smile on your face out in the middle, and go back after the game and assess why. You might have missed that mistake. If it was concentration, then maybe next time making sure you've got something that you can switch back on when the bowler's running into bowl. Or if it's technical, then great. At least you can go to training and work on changing a technical part of the game. So yeah, I guess like I said, you're only human, and you are going to have those initial disappointments. Don't worry about it. It's just a sport at the end of the day, and keep smiling, because we're lucky enough to be able to play cricket.
Absolutely. I like it. Logan Collins has asked, he's a wicket keeper as well, so he's hoping you'd answer his question. What advice would you give keeping a spin? He's kind of struggling to spin at the moment. Is there any sort of advice that you give to him?
Yeah, and I'm assuming it's probably hard wicket at this stage, which is always really difficult. If it is hard wicket, it's quite hard because the ball bounces so high. So it's making sure that you're staying nice and low and in a strong position to be able to react to the ball bouncing up around your ears at times. So again, relax. Watch the ball firstly, making sure you watch the ball and you're not worried about what the batsman's doing. And if you give yourself the best opportunity by watching the ball and being in a good position, then more often than not you'll catch them and take that stumping or take the catch. And like I said before, if you don't worry about it. Worry about the next opportunity. So, and if it's turf, turf might spin a little bit more than the hard wicket, and it will probably stay a little bit low and probably a little bit of variable. But again, I think the main point is being in a really good position and a really good setup when the ball's released the bowler's hand, and from there you trust your instincts, and you should have your head in line with the ball when it bounces and be able to react from there. So yeah, two probably a little bit different if you're on hard wicket or if you're on turf.
Very nice. Have you found one, Sever? If not, I've got one ready to go.
Yeah, I think it's a common thing that's been coming through all night. It's also something I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on, because it was probably a really inspiring innings for a lot of us to watch. A lot of people have been asking tonight, Alex, what was your response when you got hit on the helmet during the World Cup semi-final, and how did you respond to that? What were the emotions? And what were you feeling out in the middle? Because to follow up from that and play such a clean, crisp innings, I think a lot of players can learn a thing or two from how you actually responded to that. And what were you feeling out in the middle at the time when you got hit?
Yeah, we were under a fair bit of pressure at the time. I think we were 3 for not many, no more than 10, I don't think. And in a World Cup semi-final, it's probably not the ideal position when you're trying to post a big score. So, I've faced Jofra a few times now, and he's one guy that will just sort of waddle in and just let the ball go, and it comes down at a rapid pace. And I don't know how he does it, but copped one on the chin and got a few stitches, but I was lucky enough to catch the helmet and be able to bat on for a little bit longer with Steve Smith at the other end. So when he got me, there was blood straight away, and I wasn't too rattled by it. It was probably a little bit more annoying that I had to get the tape around the head and hold up the game for a little bit. So I felt okay. The jaw went numb. It was a little bit sore in the left ear where it sort of moved the jaw, but you know, for me, it was all about trying my absolute best to post a score that we could potentially defend, and unfortunately didn't go on and make a big score with Steve. But yeah, at the time it was, you know, I just had my focus on, you know, trying to play good innings and you know, worry about the repercussions after that. So, yep, like I said, lucky enough to take the catch of the helmet, which was probably my best catch of the World Cup.
Kai Robinson has asked, so what as part of our program over the last couple of weeks, we do like live guest spots with players, coaches, industry experts, but we also give them like cricket lessons and life lessons. And one of them was using your time more effectively between balls when you're batting. So your pre-ball routines or everything like that. And Kai's asking, do you have a routine while you're keeping between balls, similar to like people have routines when they're batting?
Yeah, and yeah, I think it's a great question because I think you definitely should. And you know, for me, I if I don't run up to the stumps or get a return in from the fielders, you know, you like to switch your brain off as best you can. So I'll just look around the field and you know, look at my mates and make sure they're all in the right position, just to take my mind off the last ball bowled. And I know where I'm probably going to stand, so I've got a little mark there which I'll scratch. And then when the bowler, I guess, turns and starts to come in, then I'll probably get in a bit of a crouch with the hands on the knees and move into my stance from there. So yeah, I think it's key to switch off, because you're out in the field for 6 hours if you're fielding, and you can't mentally stay on for that long. So yeah, have distractions or have little routines. And you know, for me, it might be scratch the ground or yeah, look around the field, or yeah, see what the captain's doing as well. So yeah, have little things. And you know, I like to, a bit like Steve Smith, not as much as him, but you know, scratch parts of your body and move parts of your gear, and yeah, have a look around. So
and further to that, Alex, I guess in more of a batting sense, we've got a question here from Ashton Haycock. So one of our academy legends from Campbelltown in Sydney, he's asked, how did you find your perfect technique for yourself? Like Steve Smith has his own technique. Mitchell Johnson has his own technique when he's bowling. Obviously, it's something that's so particular and so individual, but a lot of people will look at you and say, look, he's technically pretty gifted or very sound. How did you discover that for yourself or go about that?
Yeah, and I think I still am. I think, you know, that you're always chasing to be the perfect player, which you know, we all strive to do, which is great. But I guess for me, when I guess got back into the professional scene of cricket, I had a lot of coaches and probably too many at times, because I was trying to please all of them. So I had a little bit of a harsh lesson by getting dropped a couple of times. And you know, once you go away and you have a few setbacks, you know, which made me a better player, you start to learn what or who you trust to listen to, and what really works for your game. So I guess, you know, the answer to that is you're always going to be searching to do better, and I think that's great. If it's mentally, then, you know, perfect, the technical side sorted. If it's technically, then you know, just making sure whatever's comfortable, making sure you're, you know, I guess, in a good position, or being able to, you know, push forward or push back. And again, you know, if you've got too many coaches, then you know, respect their coaching and you know, thank them and have a go. And it might work or it might not. And don't be afraid to do something differently if a coach says, you know, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. Like I said, try it, definitely try it. But if it doesn't work, then that's okay as well. So yeah, it's the beauty of cricket is we're all trying to, you know, be the Virat Kohlis and the Steve Smiths of the world. And you know, it might be something really simple as, you know, batting on off stump or batting on middle stump or opening your stance, you know, just a little bit. So yeah, keep working on it, keep trying things, and you know, until we're all averaging 100 in the game, I'm sure, you know, the professionals will keep trying to tinker with their techniques as well.
Absolutely, a great point.
Yeah, really good. And I like the fact that, you brought up the part of, being your own personal, I guess, sieve. There's going to be heaps of information. I think it's good, like you're saying, but you need to be able to compartmentalize it. And what works for you is awesome. And it's not a bad thing that if things don't work for you, they might work for others, but it's really important for you to find your own little groove in it.
I think that's so special about Steve Smith is he's pretty unorthodox, but the way that he mentally gets himself into the game and then trusts what his technique does is pretty phenomenal. So don't be afraid to be a bit rare and be a bit weird with your mannerisms, because he's a pretty good one to watch out the middle, and then you've got the guys like the Mike Hussies who are correct. So works for some, doesn't work for others. Don't be afraid to be different.
Awesome. I've got one here on our live stream in Facebook from Tom Cole. How much time do you dedicate to your batting versus your keeping?
Yeah, great question again. For me, it's my number one trade is, the wicket keeping. So there'll be days where, I'll have some really solid wicket keeping sessions to, almost not even batting. So, and then there's other days where it might be, put the gloves down and let's have a hit. So again, I think it's trusting your own preparation and making sure I feel good. I feel mentally prepared going into a game and technically as well. So, and the beauty of, in the season, it's a lot about recovering and making sure you're mentally prepared to go. And in the off season, there's probably more of an opportunity to get some bigger, more time into the legs, and doesn't matter if you wake up the next day a little bit stiff and sore, because it's just the training day rather than going into a game a little bit stiff. So it's like I said, being prepared to take ownership of your own game and making sure that feeling of what you're getting out of the session is what you want to as well. So it's a bit of a juggling act, and one we're all again trying to crave and chase the perfect preparation leading into a game. And although I like being fresh, I also like catching a handful of balls the day before and making sure I get a little hit in as well.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Seven,
sure.
we might go one more from you and then one more from the Q&A. Obviously, everyone, there's 340 questions on there, so we're not going to go through them all, but hopefully we're trying to generalise some ones that are really common themes. And then I've got a couple of quick fire ones, because there's a couple of similar ones that people are asking about, some fast bowls and things like that. So hit us with one more, Seba.
Well, there are a couple of comments about maybe you getting a trade to the Brisbane Heat, but we'll go past them. I do have a question here from Tyson Butler, and I guess it's something pretty important from us at the ACI as well. Who were your role models growing up? And I guess you're probably a role model for a lot of, for thousands, hundreds of thousands of kids around the country. Who did you sort of look up to when you were younger? Were they coaches? Were they role models? Who were the influences in your life that helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah, I suppose more of a personal role model is my father and my older brother. They were and still are big supporters of mine. So to have those two guys really close to me is great. And I think there's lots of young cricketers out there with their parents as their role models in life. So that's a big tick. And then I guess in the professional sporting arena, I loved watching Adam Gilchrist play. Obviously a left-hand wicket-keeping batter. The way he handled himself on the field, he always had a big smile on his face, and to be able to talk to Gilly and call him a mate of mine now is pretty special. So he was a big one. More for the fact, obviously, that the wicket-keeper and the batting is what I was trying to aspire to at that young age. So to have a role model like him was fantastic. And like I said, he's a fantastic man, and the way he handles himself while he was playing was something I really enjoyed. So whoever it is though, it's I think it's great if it's your older sister. I've got a great older sister as well who's a big supporter. Family's key.
Love it.
Nice,
Really love
very good. So my final one before we go into some rapid fire stuff. Ned Goodwin has asked, have you got any advice for keeper captains?
Yep.
Looking
Yeah,
for-
I think. Yeah, do your captaining, while the ball's not being bowled. So what I mean by that is making sure you've made your decisions, you've got your field in the right place, and then once the bowler runs into bowl, switch back on to catching the ball. So there's lots of time out in the game, and making sure you just simplify it a little bit. Not being too stressed, and making sure you have a good helper in your corner as well, if it's your vice captain or a close friend out in the ground. And don't be afraid to say that you need a bit of help, or you're not sure what I should do next. It's great to be able to communicate with your teammates. So, but yeah, making sure once the ball's bowled, that's what you got to watch, not the field. So yeah, get your work done, and then switch back on to the important thing and that's catching the ball.
Very good. I've got actually one more has just popped in, which I reckon is not bad. It's a generalisation, but I just wouldn't mind you sort of talking you through what are some key points in your mindset going into like chasing, the last 10 balls last over, you need 10 off the last over. What are some things, obviously you don't understand this full situation here, but what are some...
Yeah, I think in most games when we play our best cricket or play our best innings, we're not too worried about the outcome, and we're just focused on the ball that's bowled. So obviously you need to know what you're chasing and have that in mind. But again, you can only react to what the bowler bowls. So making sure you're not shutting down one side of the field. What I mean by that is you're not only just trying to score it at cow corner if your bowl's wide outside off stump. So being in a good mental frame in able to react to what's bowled, having a good enough technique to hit a 4 or a 6 over the offside if you need to, and just calming it all down. I think when you're in a run chase, you can get really ahead of yourself and worried about trying to go at 12s for 3 overs or 4 overs in a T20 game. And if we just take a deep breath and understand what the bowler's trying to bowl and the fields that they set, you give yourself your best opportunity rather than, I guess, being a little bit frantic out in the middle and you've got too many thoughts running through your mind. So for me, it's been a big part of my game is just being able to calm my thoughts out in the middle. And if the bowler bowls a really good Yorker and you can't hit it for 6, and sometimes the bowler's allowed to bowl a good ball. So just take a deep breath, calm down, and trust your other mate out in the middle to give you that support.
Love it. Awesome. Well, that's really good advice, and we've got the next ones are just like the generic ones that a heap of people have been asking. So it's a little bit more quick fire. You can go in detail, or you can just sort of answer a couple of simple sort of answers. But the first one, who's the best bowler that you've faced?
Best bowler that I've faced. Oh, there's a lot around the world. I think the best bowler that I've kept to is Rashid Khan. He's pretty special. I think lots of people would agree with that.
Shorty said he struggled to pick him in the nets. He can't pick him around too much.
Yeah, so and I faced him, so he's the best bowler that's bowled to me.
Very good. Your favourite format?
Oh, so I love them all, to be honest. I think they're all obviously exciting for different reasons. And T20, it's so exciting how quickly it goes, and that format's it's great fun to play. One day cricket, the challenge of starting well and building through an innings and then trying to finish it off. So you've got a bit more time to build through the middle, but still with the T20 elements at the start and the end. And then 4-day cricket, Shield cricket for me, I love the patience of the game, the length of the game. I think it's fantastic. Sometimes that a 4-day game comes down to the last couple of overs on, day 4 or if it's a test in day 5. But I love them all for different reasons. But I don't know.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
On the spot. How far back do you stand as some of the quicks, like your Starks and?
Yeah. I suppose a good gauge
How
is,
far back?
yeah, once, Stark can obviously get him through pretty quick, and he's quite tall and got some good bounce. So I guess a good gauge for me is I'm probably just inside the 20-yard circle. So I don't think I've kept outside of it.
Yeah. So that's that 20-yard circle. That's what, about 23 meters or 20 odd meters?
Yeah, not sure, but normally you'll see it's I'm standing on the pate behind the batter. So it's quite a long way back, which can be good and bad because you've got so much time between the ball coming to you after it's past the batter, and sometimes it's good because you've got nice carry and a bit of time to get in some rhythm.
Yeah. On that, your favourite field or favourite oval to play on, stadium?
Adelaide Oval. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then Lords. Lords is Lords. It's just one of the the history that's there, the old stand, and I played 2 World Cup games there, and we beat New Zealand and England. So I've got some nice memories.
Good spot, yeah. Dorf said he was amazed at how big the slope was. It is.
Yeah, and he's probably his favourite ground's probably Lords as well.
Yeah, I think actually from memory, I think he said that. It should be if it's not.
Yeah. No, it is. It's a little bit strange when you get out there at first, but it's pretty special.
Yeah, awesome. Who do you follow in the AFL?
I follow the Crows, a local team here. I follow Dylan Schill at Essendon, and still got a bit of a soft spot for the Giants.
Very nice. Who'd you play for in your district cricket stuff?
Yeah, so I started my junior cricket, district cricket at Southern Districts, who are the Stingrays down in south of South Australia. And then I moved to Glenelg District Cricket Club. So, the Chappell brothers have come out of Glenelg.
Very nice. This one, I don't know if you're going to be able to answer it like the formats, but do you prefer batting or keeping more?
If I make runs, I love batting, and it's great to be able to put the gloves on and catches. So, it can be good, it can be bad.
Absolutely. A couple of people have actually asked, Sophie, and I know there's a couple of others, what your 2K time trial record is. No?
I'm about 6:30, I think,
Andy?
which is not too bad. So
yeah.
We've got some really good runners here in South Australia. Some of the quick bowlers are in good nick. We in football, I think we did about a 3K time trial. So it's now down to 2.
Yeah, lucky you. And I guess following into that as well, there's a lot of people that are asking what you've actually been doing cricket-wise during isolation. We spoke about it before we went on this live stream and everything briefly, but you just fill us in. Are you training? Are you catching balls? Are you running? What are you doing in isolation?
Yeah, lots of running. I really enjoy getting out and going for a run. And I've got some gym stuff out in the backyard, which I can get some weights in through my legs.
Yeah.
Now I've got a little golf ball against the wall, so that's my catching at the moment. And then tomorrow I'm going to have a hit, which is inside. There's an indoor centre which is being opened up for a few of the players here. So,
awesome.
Yep, I've still hit and caught balls and gone for a run and done my weights, and I can't sit still. So it's I really enjoy, I guess, trying to stay fit, trying to stay strong, and hitting balls because it's what I love doing. So if this break hadn't come around, I'd be over in Delhi in the IPL, which would have been amazing. But, it's also nice to put the feet up for a little bit and spend some time with my family and get a bit of a rest into the body, which I think a lot of the Australian cricketers needed. It was quite a big couple of years. Yeah,
I guess I know people, they see all the Aussie cricketers, it's an awesome life, but a bit of an insight, like how, if you weren't to be here, you were in the IPL, how long at one time were you at home for?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have been back at home until maybe July. So I would have gone over to England as well and played some cricket over there. So, yeah, I think my son's 19 months old, and I would be surprised if I've spent, probably 6 months of his life with him. So yeah, a lot of time away from the family, which is quite tough. But to have this forced break, it's nice to put a bit of life into perspective and how lucky we are to do what we do. But it's great to spend some time at home as well.
Yeah, nice. Last one. Pratham has actually just put a really good one in there. He goes, "We are anxious while watching the IPL auction." Did you even watch it, or?
I didn't watch it. No, I was out for dinner, and I don't have Twitter or those accounts, so I wasn't able to follow it. But a couple of the guys at the Strikers were at the time. I think we were together, and they had it on, so they sent me a message after. But no, I was. I guess I was a little bit anxious. I was hoping to get picked up, and for my first opportunity to be with Delhi, it was it was a really exciting moment to have Ricky Ponting as the coach there.
Yeah,
fingers crossed we find a way for it to go ahead later in the year, which I'm optimistic about. So if I get the opportunity to go over, I really can't wait. It's India's an amazing place to play cricket, and I have no doubt the Delhi fans would be pretty incredible to play in front of.
Is it a similar feeling to the AFL draft, to what the option was? Did you know that you were going to go? Did you know that people were interested? No,
I didn't know I was going to get picked up. And again, you don't get a lot of notice, or I had no idea if there was any teams wanting to.
Right.
So, you're sort of left in the unknown there, which is, it's also pretty exciting if you do get picked up. Where with footy, you probably get a little bit of an insight. There's, some teams that will talk to you. But this was pretty cool. It was, something that, a T20 tournament that I've always wanted to play. You sit down, you watch it, and, they're some of the best players in the world. And, hopefully it goes ahead, because I'm really keen to get up and play.
Absolutely. We'd love to see you over there. I think you'll do really well.
May also be a good interlude into hopefully a World Cup at home.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think if we find a way to get the IPL up and running, then there'll be some really strong T20 cricket leading into a World Cup, which is again, it's pretty exciting to have a World Cup. I think there's also another T20 World Cup next year. So it's pretty cool.
Very nice. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much, mate. We'll let you go. We really appreciate you spending your time and giving us some valuable insights. The boys and girls that are watching live, but also they watch replays if they're in different. We've got people all over the world that are in this thing. So, really do appreciate you coming on, mate. And we're definitely going to be sitting back watching you, do your thing when you're back in your Aussie colours, or maybe, the IPL as well. So I really appreciate your time.
No, my absolute pleasure. And it's fantastic to see the amount of questions and people asking the questions. It's great to have lots of support. So thanks to you guys. Thanks to all the fans that come on tonight and listened.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
well.
mate.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.